What's good with y'all, boys? Welcome back to the episode of Rand Kyle Everything Sports Podcast. We had a great games this past weekend in college football. So we're going to break down our top 10. These are not the standings. So who's in number 10, Ray?
Yeah, these are just the teams that I think are better than other teams. To me, the 10th best team in football right now is Texas. Don't get me wrong, didn't do anything wrong. Just a lot of teams I had to bump up from good performances this week. I kept Alabama out this week, just because I probably have them at 11. Just because, like I said, a lot of teams got bumped up. But this Texas team did lose to Oklahoma, but then had that blowout win right before that versus Kansas. So not too sure how to think about them, but coming off a bye, we'll see how they can do against a not so good Houston team this week. Then at number 9, I have UNC. Huge win this week. Would like to see how they're going to do in this ACC. Could really give a run to the college football playoffs. Still undefeated. That got a really high-powered offense, putting up 41, 40, 41, 31, 40, and 31 points so far. This team is looking for another 40-point game for their 4th straight versus Virginia this week. Drake May's putting up crazy numbers, slowly just going up the Heisman rankings right now. And I think UNC has a really good shot over there in the ACC. Then number 8 at Florida State. Another team that I bumped down, not because they've done anything wrong, but a lot of teams are getting pushed above them. This Florida State team has had some struggles in the past, struggling with Clemson, struggling with Boston College, but still undefeated, still got a good quarterback, still got a good offense. We're going to see how they can do this week against Duke. At number 7, I have Penn State. Another tough matchup for this team this week. Got Ohio State, who I have in my 1 spot. I don't know how this Penn State team is going to be able to stay here because I believe they're going to lose this game this week. Got a good defense, but I don't know if their offense is going to be able to hang with that Ohio State offense. I think that this game is going to be more of like a 34-14 game, just because I don't feel like Penn State's offense is really going to be able to put up the numbers it needs to go into a shootout with Ohio State. So that's why I have them in my 7. At number 6, I have Georgia. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not really a big believer in this Penn State team either, just simply because of the fact they haven't really played anybody, and I don't really trust their quarterback too. He's a young guy, so I think he'll get exposed this weekend down in Columbus.
They're definitely going to be their hardest test so far. Then at number 6, I have Georgia, a lot lower than most people have. I don't believe this Georgia team's played a lot of competition. I think their best competition was that Kentucky team that I don't believe should have been ranked. Don't get me wrong, they were 5-0, but I don't believe that they've really played anyone to show anything. And then I don't believe this Georgia team has really played anybody. Really worrisome on some ends, keeping games closer than they should. Kyle believes they showed a lot against Auburn. I believe they showed a lot the opposite direction, that they're still starting off slow, but did have a good win against Kentucky, blew them out like beat them should have. So I mean, I'll give them that. But besides for that, this Georgia team needs to show me a little bit more going on the stretch against some of these good SEC opponents.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why you don't have them at number 1 or whatever, but to say that they played a Kentucky team that wasn't that good, I mean, they were 5-0. They just got done dominating a ranked Florida team, and then
Florida's not that good either.
Okay, but Kentucky is good, right? And they'll probably end off, I don't know, 9-1 or something, or 8-2. They're a good team. But one thing that does concern me is Brock Bowers' injury, because I think this offense will look extremely different without him. So that does worry me.
At number 5, I have Oregon. I actually believe this Oregon loss vaulted them up for me, because it showed me, I mean, they should have won that game. That I don't know that after watching that Oregon and Washington game, which team is better, because the game was so 50-50 all the way through, even up to the end. I believe if they played 10 times, it would go 5-5. So I don't know that that Oregon loss is too much of a factor for me. The thing that's going to really hurt them is because the Pac-12 is so competitive that it's going to hurt them in the standings, losing that game. But from a rankings perspective, I don't believe that game pushed them down very far for me at all. I think I actually vaulted them up 1 spot from last week. So I think that –
yeah, and I agree with that also.
I think Bo Nix is doing great over there. I think their offense showed me a lot. And honestly, their defenses showed me a little bit more than I thought they would. So I think that that Oregon and Washington team both showed a lot. I think it held both their cases in that game. Both those teams look good. So I think it's going to hurt them losing that game if they want to look forward to the playoffs, because with how competitive it is over there, every win is just even more significant than even in other conferences. But I think that Oregon team is a really good team. That's why I have them in my 5.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too. I mean, to go on the road and outplay a team at home like that, I mean, they should have won. I mean, they really should have won. But yeah, I agree with that. I think Oregon shouldn't drop as much as they did in the AP polls.
Then at number 4, I have Oklahoma coming off a bye again, just like Texas. After beating that Texas team, huge win for them. I don't know that a lot of people really thought they were going to win, but now that they did, a lot of eyes are on Oklahoma over there in the Big 12. I think that them and Texas are going to meet again in the Big 12 championship, and Oklahoma will still be undefeated. Really like their offense. Showed a lot against a good Texas defense that held Alabama. But really looking forward to see how that Oklahoma team can shake up in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean they're in the remaining, really the remaining part of their schedule is so weak that we're not going to really see a test until they play probably Texas in that the Big 12 championship game. So, I mean, it's going to be hard for them to drop out until whether they win or lose that game.
Then at the 3, I have Washington, bumping them up a couple spots for me with that huge win over Oregon. I think the main thing for me is that Michael Penix looks really good. We were wondering how he's going to look against good opponents because he'd been looking great against not so good opponents, but now playing good opponents, still showing out. Really vaults him up there with Drake May for me in the Heisman race. I think this Washington team is going to they're going to be favored in every game moving forward in the Pac-12. If they can hang on and win every game, they're going to be the number 1 seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean they came off a great win, and I mean just to get that first big Pac-10 or Pac-12 win is huge, and I think Michael Penix is definitely the Heisman favorite right now. I don't really think that's a question.
I don't know. Drake May is putting up crazy numbers with UNC.
Yeah, but who's their biggest win though? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I guess if you look at it from that perspective, but I don't know.
That definitely plays a part in it.
It's definitely going to be a thing because I think UNC and Washington are both going to go undefeated.
Yeah, they probably. Well, I don't know. I mean, it'd be crazy Washington because they still play 3 pretty big games.
Yeah, but I think Oregon's the best team that they've played so far, and that they're going to play all season.
Yeah, and Oregon's definitely probably the best team they'll play. But it's just hard, coming off back to back weeks playing top tier.
Yeah, because they have to play Oregon State, Washington State, teams like that. But to me, I mean, people were looking at USC, but now we see how not so great they are. But then at number 2, I have Michigan. I believe this Michigan team hasn't really shown me a whole lot yet, just because they haven't played anybody. But I do believe this Michigan team they're dominating teams like they should be. They're putting up 50, 60 points a game, and they're showing a lot on that offensive side of the ball. I just want to see how they can do against some defenses over there in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, this Michigan team is doing what they should do to bad teams. They're blowing them out. It's never close. I mean, it's what you want to see from a top team playing against a lesser opponent. So I like Michigan at 2.
Then Ohio State, I have at my 1. I believe this Ohio State team has shown us a lot, especially after beating that Notre Dame team. Worried me when that Notre Dame team then lost to Louisville a few weeks later. But then we see Notre Dame just blew out USC, so that makes that win even better. Because everybody was so high on USC. Then Ohio State beat Notre Dame. Then Notre Dame went and beat USC, blew them out. I think that vaults that Ohio State team even up more for me than when they beat Notre Dame by themselves. So I think that offense over there is probably the best in the country, definitely the most consistent, and I believe that their defense is going to be good enough that it's championship level. I think this Ohio State team is the clear-cut number 1 for me.
Yeah, I think that up until last week, they did have the most notable win over Notre Dame. But then, I mean, Washington beating Oregon is probably the best win. But I think they do have the second best win. So I like them at them at number 1. I think they'll go and beat Penn State as well. So I like them.
Thank you guys for tuning in with us, and we'll see you next week.